Hello and welcome to the Wall of Weird podcast. We are back finally after 5 weeks of Supergirl. Who watches that?
I didn't watch it. I know that for sure.
So we're back with Superman and Lois. A new episode just on Tuesday night called Broken. What was it? Broken
Trust.
Broken Trust. That's the one. Yeah, I wanted to say promises
theme
for some
being
reason. I was like,
don't break trust.
That's it. Don't break the trust. Don't break the trust.
So yes, the episode.
That's it. Okay, so slightly different format tonight, guys, just because we're sick of going to like the 1.5 hour, 2 hour mark. We're not going to go.
You're like, you don't like going 2 hours?
No, I like to get to bed for midnight. So yeah, okay. So we're doing a slightly different format. We've got some slides that are going to kind of indicate what scene we're talking about. We're going to assume you know what scene we're talking about because let's face it, this is spoiler filled. If you haven't seen this episode yet, what the hell are you doing listening to us, guys? Go and watch it because, yeah, we're going to spoil the crap out of it. The slides will indicate to those who have seen it what scene we're going to be talking about. So, yeah. We're going to assume you know where we're at. And we're just going to, we're not going to go through every scene like we usually do. We're just going to go through the highlights, the stuff that we really liked, the stuff that we didn't like. Although, quite frankly, in this episode, just to give the game away, I'm not sure there was anything I didn't like. So that should tell you something about what grade I'm going to give this right there. But we'll just get into it anyway. So I'll throw the first slide up anyway, which is Dad to the rescue. We so a really strong opening.
It was
because obviously
after 5 weeks. What a great way to dive right back in. No warm up. We're just diving in, and it was awesome.
Yeah, we missed you.
Yeah, big time. Because like for those who can't remember, it was like we had the Jordan was just literally about to get his ass handed to him by Tag.
Yeah.
Who's now like got the powers of the Flash as well as Superman, maybe, as well as the Jitters guy from Smallville. And it's just, it was. I really felt for Jordan in this moment. He was taking quite a beating.
Well, what was cool about that beating, if I could say a beating was cool. But I love what they introduced in that moment, because what they introduced right off the bat is now there's a change in Jordan's powers. Something is now triggered, and they always do it with that high-pitched noise. And that high-pitched noise was so cool, because now every single time it comes back, you're like, oh, crap, it's going down again. What's about to happen? And they did a really good job establishing that right in the get-go there.
Yeah.
I kept thinking he was going to get super hearing because you guys get super hearing right now.
I liked that it was going for that button as well. He had that button. Although I must say, I do think they play it well too fast with just how quick Superman gets there.
I thought that too. I mean, he's faster than a speeding bullet. We know that. But really quick.
But he's still got to. First, he's got to hear it. He's got to pick up on it with whatever he's doing. And let's face it, it could be in Metropolis or wherever. Yeah. So first, he's got to pick up on it. Then he's got to zone in on it. Then he's got to fly there at super speed. And it's like we've seen scenes before where somebody hits that button and he's flying around and he's like, where is it? And then he's off. But like literally, he presses that button. And it's like, and he's there and like, seriously, were you just hanging out upstairs? Yeah,
genie in a lamp. They rub the lamp, the genie appears.
Yeah, it was literally like he was just hanging out in the trees, waiting for him to come on, push it, Jordan, push it.
And I'm going to talk about the fact that he dropped that device, all right, and had to crawl to it.
Yeah.
Because it was not attached to his body.
Well, you know what's funny? I didn't actually notice that because I feel like all of that happened so fast. So I noticed him crawling, but I kind of thought it was him getting away. I didn't notice until you said it. Now I could go back and go, oh, yeah. But I didn't even notice he had dropped it, crawled to it, because that's how fast that whole sequence of events went by.
Yeah.
while he was getting his ass handed to him. So precious seconds, you know.
That poor kid, he was just on this high because he had this great conversation with Sarah, even though he was friend zoned, which is not a great conversation, but he took it well. And so here he is on this high, and then Tag shows up and beats the ever-living snot out of him.
Yeah.
But then Dad shows up.
Dad shows up, gets into a bit of a speed run with this Tag dude, and Tag not meaning to. I don't think he does this. I think he does it purely by accident because he's just trying to get the hell out of Dodge from Superman.
Yeah.
He cuts across some tracks, but because he cuts across them at such speed, it kind of knocks the tracks out, and Superman has to come in for this save.
So,
That's awesome.
It's the best moment.
it's great. So I wonder if Clark knew. That's why he told him, "Stop! Don't run! Don't run over there."
Yeah.
He must know what happens when he runs over certain things.
He must have.
Yeah.
Like, you do feel like there was some sort of foreknowledge there. Like, something was going to happen, and Superman was, like, gearing up for it. But, I agree with Brian. I don't think Tag did that on purpose.
No.
But, yeah, he was just trying to get out of there. I don't know how crossing the tracks would get him away from somebody who's flying. But, yeah, it was awesome.
Well, he's not thinking straight, is he? It's like, and because he can't fly, he's got no choice but to run. But I do think that, I mean, it's very, one of the themes that runs throughout this particular episode, as well as the season, as well as the series as a whole, is that learning to get to grips with the powers, the responsibility that you have with the powers. And in this episode in particular, Clark gives a lot of talk about that very issue. And I think he can see where Tag is about to make mistakes. He knows that this kid has only just got powers, so he knows that when you run about like a maniac like this in front of a train, some bad crap can happen. It just feeds into that idea that Clark is very experienced. He knows how to handle his powers, and actually, it takes a great deal of effort to handle those powers.
Do you ever think? I was watching this movie, and I was counting this movie. It looks like a movie. It feels like a movie. This episode, I was counting the number of times I thought for sure Clark was going to say, "With great power comes great responsibility." I mean, it just felt like that line, like they wanted to use it so bad, but that's Spider-Man's line. Superman definitely can't say that, but
it's
pretty
Uncle
close,
Ben.
though.
he should at least say, "Great responsibility comes with great power." You know, with having great power,
like
just to get around it.
They did a good job. It's the same principle as Spider-Man, but they really did a good job trying to avoid that line. But they illustrated it really good.
Yeah. Dale. And copyright for showing clips. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's what's this?
The music is usually what gets us.
Yeah, it is. Sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic on my way to work, but at least it ain't hot. I haven't had AC.
And he's in Sacramento, so thankfully it isn't hot down there because that would be nasty with the... anyway.
Right, anyway, on to the next topic. Throw this slide up right here. So, Lana gets promoted.
I love this dynamic. Can I just be ironic? I like Lana.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I was literally just about to say the same thing here. Lana in this show is fast becoming a highlight for me.
Me too.
The thing is, all of them are. I'm in love with this show right now, I've got to say. There's not been a bad episode yet, and I'll be perfectly honest, I think this episode has been the best one we've had so far.
I totally agree with that, yeah.
It's just that there's not a single wasted moment in this episode when it comes to dealing with these characters and fleshing them out a bit more. And, you know, we've said before that her husband, certainly when the series first started, came across as really douchey. Still has his douchey moments,
but he makes sense.
Yeah, all of his douchiness comes from a place of nobility, of trying to genuinely help people and see his town get back on a good footing.
And I like this actor. I've watched the episode twice now, And upon the second view, it was really interesting what I picked up, because when Morgan Edge is talking to Lana about how he needs a new leader and all of that stuff, you could see that humble, awesome, I'm excited look rising up on Kyle's face, and he's really excited. And then it's interesting because without his facial expression changing too much, you can feel the disappointment while he's trying to keep the smile going and being proud of his wife. So it's like you get the sense in this episode, especially later, I don't mean to get ahead of myself, but when he and Lana are in the kitchen and they're talking about the promotion, he really gives that sense of trying so hard, but fighting back those emotions. And I think that just feels so real because we've all been there, I think. And so
I find that's the perfect summation of how most of the interactions are in this series. Because despite the superpowers, all the character interactions, whether it's between father and son, husband and wife, douchebag businessman versus intrepid reporter, the interactions between all these people always feel real to me, and it's like they find what is real in those moments and put them in. Like even down to the things that are said. There are things that, you know, like Clark and Lois say to their kids, or even that Lana says to her daughter, that I find myself saying to my kids, you know, or like with Kyle in this scene. There's been times in, you know, I'll freely admit I'm not perfect, you know. There have been times when me and my wife have, you know, had arguments or whatever. I've had to apologise. I've had to swallow my pride, and I see bits of myself in this scene with Kyle.
Yes, for sure.
You know, where I do have to admit that in a particular moment, perhaps, hey, maybe my wife is the one who is more qualified in that instance, and maybe people shouldn't be praising me in that instance, but her. You know, so it's. I agree with you. I think his performance there is really good, and it's all done through looks, not telling. You know, show don't tell. It's like and it's very hard to do, I think, as an actor, to convey all that just in a look without overplaying it or whatever.
It's like, Kyle, you're awesome. Lana, you're going to be promoted.
Not even more awesome.
You know, the funny thing about that is, here's what's so sinister about that, right? Lana really is qualified to do the job Morgan Edge is offering her. So I think he sees that true talent. But I also think he's really creepy, and I think he's digging on her good. But I also think she's going to be the next, what's that assistant's name? Lena Lara or something, whatever her name is. I kind of feel like he wants Lana Lang to be that next LL in his employ and put her through the thing to get the powers. Like,
oh, for sure.
I think we're building there. And this is really, really interesting.
Yeah, he's setting that up. And then I do like how Kyle does even though he really wanted it, he does come around to,
yes,
you know, I'm going to celebrate this with you. I am thankful and grateful that this is happening. And then there's this moment that happens where his friends that hasn't had a job in 6 months finally got the first job, and you really start to understand what's going on in the town and why they would let Morgan Edge come in, even if there might be a possibility that there's something. It's like, I don't want to hear that because this is really good right now. You know, I can understand his perspective, even though.
Which makes that conversation with Kyle, Lana, and Lois really interesting, because even Lana is now on Kyle's side. So we, the audience, know this is sinister. Lois is right. But we're so brought into the moment. It's like, I see Kyle and Lana's perspective, like 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Lana comes back later and it's like, okay, I'm going to work with you. Okay, here we go. Secrets.
Oh, man.
Oh, behind her husband's back. They did have a nice moment, though, between Lana and Kyle. I liked that. They, you know. So they're showing, like, a real marriage, you know, where you have a little spat. Then you come back together. It's not all smiles and happy and agreeing all the time.
Yeah.
You know further down the line, though, that Kyle's going to veer back the other way. Because that's the way it happens in these things. They always yo-yo. It's like, But
as long as they keep
when he finds out, he'll probably think he's, you know, he's been betrayed by his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you that's coming.
Yeah, that's definitely coming.
That's going to be
broken trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I did not make that connection. Oh, that is some broken trust.
Big time. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
another one.
wait.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the kids at all. It's all about Lana. It's always about Lana. The Lana drama.
Don't get me
Brings
started.
me to something else I really love, and Flash used to do this in season 1, and so it's season 1 they're always a little better. But I love the themes in this episode. How it's all the stories are connected. They're all connected from a theme. They're interconnected to each other from a story perspective. It's very enjoyable.
It's not disjointed at all. It's all like everything is about that. I mean, if you look at the relationship between Superman and Lois's dad,
Yes.
in this, that goes down there as well. Like General Lane really betraying the trust there. But anyway, next slide up, we've got Sara the Babysitter.
Oh, Sara.
So go on, Nicole. Why did you throw that one into the mix?
All right, so this was interesting. There's a couple things that I noted this. First of all, she was supposed to go to the game, which is such a high school
That's a
thing
very
to do.
go back to Smallville setup. Hey, I will be there, I promise. So therefore, it's not going to happen. So when she was saying I'll be there,
True.
it's not going to happen.
She gave up going to the game just so that her parents could go have a date night. I mean, they could have had a date night another night, but she said, no, fine. That kind of tells me a little bit about her priority, too, about seeing Jordan. I don't know. The other thing that was
it's like, but by that, do you mean that he's not a big priority to her?
Yeah, like
because in this case, I would say that. Because she starts out by, because let's not forget, not recently we had a really powerful scene between Lana and her, in which they, like for the first time it seemed, kind of saw eye to eye and realised where each other was coming from. And I feel like their relationship is actually getting stronger. And she's obviously had a rocky relationship with her dad, and she starts out this conversation with her mum, even calling her dad, belittling her dad, and it's only when she sees the effort there that is being made on both sides from her parents, that's when she changes, and that's when she's like, actually, you know what? I think she's making a sacrifice.
She is making it's very it's a selfless thing, and I'm just saying it's unusual for a teenager to care
It is unusual, but it's cool though. It's cool to see it.
All teenagers are demons.
Although Clark and Smallville would do anything to try to mend I didn't think about it, that she really was probably thinking, we got to capitalize and make sure that my parents are going, to mend that relationship. And that I can see. That's a good point. But then I would like to talk about her sister. So she goes and gets pizza. I don't know if I missed something, but she goes and gets pizza. She gets knocked out, taken away, and her sister just goes in her room and where is she?
Yeah, but she's scared though, isn't she? She's scared. Like you can see, like when she comes in, she's wrapped in a blanket, like she's almost like she's been hiding under a bed, and the tone of her voice is like, I don't know where she is. Like, I've been left all alone for the past 2 hours. Like, from her body language, what I was getting from there was that my sister's gone. I've no idea where she is. I'm just going to go upstairs and climb under my bed and wait for my parents to get here. That's the sense that I got from her when we saw her. So,
I'm surprised she didn't call her parents.
That's I wonder.
I thought she thought that Sarah was in a room because, there was the fake, the pillows under the blankets. As though she was in there.
Well, she says she thought she was in a room, didn't she?
Yeah.
So I think because she obviously went off to I can't remember what she told us to do. She went off to do something, didn't she? And then she's obviously come back, found that her sister's not there, and probably just assumed, because don't forget, her sister said she didn't want to watch the programs that she was watching.
Yes.
Like that was going to be like a knife to the eyes or whatever. So I think when her sister came back to put the programs on and grab the pizza and found that her older sister had gone, she just assumed, oh, right, she's just leaving me to it then.
I'd be annoyed because I'd have no pizza.
Yeah, I would be annoyed. I want the pizza. I wouldn't be asking my parents for dessert. I'd be like, hey, where's my promised pizza?
Well, the pizza would have turned up. Because don't forget, Sarah's been kidnapped after having already ordered the pizza. So she gets kidnapped. Little sister comes back, assumes she's gone to her room. Then the pizza guy comes, drops it off. She takes it at the door. Boom. Doesn't bother giving Sarah any because she's like, you left me here, you biatch. So I'm just going to eat it all myself.
So, because it wasn't the pizza guy at the door, it was Tag.
It was Tag,
yeah.
So the pizza did show up, but did she pay for it? It's all very confusing.
I know.
I find it amusing.
Scene in there somewhere. We'll get an extended cut that will show what on earth happened here one day.
I find it amusing that this is the details we get hung up on.
I know. But you know what? It's very real because it's a child. She didn't have the pizza money. Where did the pizza guy show up? Did she eat her dinner?
But Brian, if you think it through in a logical order, I think that's the explanation. Is she goes off, she comes back, sister's gone, pizza arrives, she's like, bollocks, I'll eat it myself. She can swan off in a bedroom and stay there for all I care. And then she's like, she comes back and she's all like, yeah, she's gone, she's left me, she's been in a room, I've been on my own all night. So yeah, I can imagine siblings doing that. So.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yeah. I did crazier stuff than that with my brothers when I was growing up. So. Hey, but we won't get into that.
Mercenary X84 says Tag ran all the way to Metropolis with somebody. That's a feat for his skill set. I agree. I mean, he had to pick up the girl and then run. Yeah, she could have whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah, but he has burnt out sneakers later, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He has lots of burnt out sneakers.
That doesn't help his case. That just tells us that he ran really fast.
He's been running fast for a while.
Yeah, she should have whiplash of some description somewhere. Right. Okay, next slide. We've got Lois on the case.
That was interesting. That was interesting. Yeah. First off, I want to know what on this Green Earth X kryptonite is, because I don't know even for a Superman nerd. This is the first time I've even heard of X kryptonite.
He did mention what it was, didn't he? He said.
I think he did. I'm trying to remember.
He said what he did. I honestly can't remember what he did. I'm pretty sure he told. No, maybe he didn't.
No, I think he just said it's X kryptonite.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I have that whole curiosity, and amazing how they had the foresight to line the tunnels with lead so Superman can't get in there, or see it. So that's really interesting.
Did they line it, or was it just naturally occurring?
Well, I couldn't quite figure that out.
His words were they've lined it with lead.
Okay.
So, presumably most people know that Superman can't see through lead because...
If I was Superman, I would not disclose that publicly.
Yeah,
because if you go off like previous literature, like all it takes is one person to find that out, and then boom, they tell everyone else. I mean, I'm pretty sure that in like the original Superman movie, Lois kind of printed that in her.
Well, in the original Superman movie, Clark told her everything. I can't see through lead. Like, I mean, if he knew about kryptonite, he would have told her that.
Lex read it in the paper.
Yeah, the Superman from the Superman movie is the complete opposite of Clark from the Smallville TV show. It's like he just ditches all his secrets out there, gets them out, and lets people do whatever they want with them. Whereas, Clark, he's giving nothing away.
Right.
But,
I wouldn't give that away, that's for sure.
No, I wouldn't either.
That's it's a big weakness in it. It's like, I'm going to give away one of my biggest weaknesses. I've got two weaknesses. One is kryptonite. Two is I can't see a damn thing through lead.
Right.
So,
So come at me, Lex Luthor.
come at me with a kryptonite rock encased in lead, and then...
But this was interesting in this episode. When Luthor had the ray gun, which looked remarkably like heat vision.
Yes.
And Lois saw it.
Yep.
She's got to know that he's the stranger, right? She's got to know.
I don't think she has put that together yet. That was weird. When I saw that, he disintegrated that person who had powers. So do they not have the invulnerability? Would that happen to Clark?
They didn't disintegrate her. She looked unconscious.
It just knocked her out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, would it knock Clark out?
Well, it depends what powers she's got. We know she's got heat vision, but does she like? She's not Kryptonian, is she?
I think we saw strength in there.
Yeah. We don't know yet whether she's Kryptonian, though, do we?
So where did Luther get the outfits from? Where did he get the?
It has to be his world. Like somehow on his world, and we'll probably get that filled in. There has to be because of that war,
the maps
right?
to the mine.
So whatever that war is, like they were battling bullets against laser guns, and we didn't see who they were fighting. And then Superman comes behind their lines and blows them all up with his heat vision. So there must have been some technology push on that Earth where he had that suit that could contend with Superman and had the heat vision gun and all that stuff. There must
maybe in his world.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He was the one who found the XK. Because why would he know the blueprints of the place? Maybe in his world he found.
I thought his AI got the blueprints, but that's a good thought, though.
Yeah.
He could have been investigating it though before.
That's awesome.
Maybe he was a journalist and figured it out. And then the other question is he really a bad guy? And he seems to be.
He seems to be a bad guy with good motives. Like he wouldn't know he's a bad guy.
Well, I don't think on his planet he's a bad guy.
Right.
Because I think on his planet Superman was a bad guy. I think on his planet Superman was like injustice,
Superman
God's
turned
among
into
us
the bad
kind of
guy.
Yeah. Because we saw in the flashback that Superman just like obliterated all those soldiers with his heat vision. Man. So
that's
I
what
think
happens when Superman breaks some trust.
Yeah. I think in his world he probably is a genuine like war hero. But and he's come here assuming that Superman is the same kind of threat. So.
Which is interesting when we see Superman angry because are they? We'll probably talk about more of this in a second, so I won't get too much into it. But it's like, what is the implications of that? What kind of character arc? Like, there's a reason we saw Superman in a black suit in a flashback. And there's a reason we picked this episode to show Superman get as mad as he got. So my question is, what are those implications and what are we building towards? And as we see this rift that is getting greater between Superman and Sam, how is Captain Luthor probably meaning well? How is he going to exploit that?
Yeah.
Whilst they were at the security at the mine going through, did anyone pick on the Sullivan reference?
Yes.
Yeah.
I missed that.
When he said Mr. Sullivan shouldn't be running one of his jobs anyway.
I caught Sullivan in Man of Steel, and I saw the Sullivan reference there, but I did not catch it here. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, there's a Sullivan working, at the mine.
That's awesome. I love it.
Maybe not. He might have just pulled that name out of his ass, to be honest, just to... to make it seem like he should be there and knows what he's talking about. But
it's good that Lois is suspicious of him now. And
yes,
I agree. Definitely likes Lois.
Lois was his wife on his world, wasn't he? So,
so
I feel so bad for him because I'm so happy for Lois and Clark now in this show. But I feel so bad for him because he had what Lois and Clark presently have, and I'm like, man, like this show is making me feel bad. Other than Morgan Edge, it's making me feel bad even for the bad guys, because I could just
he's a Luther. How much can you really trust?
He's gonna be bad, but yes, I'm just saying for now, I have a little bit of sympathy for him.
It's his destiny to be a villain.
Yes, it is his.
You see the good in everyone, Durbin.
I try. And
I see the bad.
But then we got Smallville Lex Luthor, who, he showed us that we're all wrong.
There's a reason I have the bald head. I'm the one who sees the bad guy in everyone. Durbin's the one who sees the good. Okay. So next scene. Soups 101, and we do have a little clip here for that, which I'll play now.
Pop him. You got it.
Come on, believe you can do this and you will. You're stronger than you think you are.
You got it.
Now.
That That's so great.
I love how excited Clark gets. He's like,
I do
he
too.
loses all composure. It's like whenever there's anything with his sons or his family, like he always has this kind of like really calm, like, you know, outer Superman exterior, and then whenever something like joyful happens with his family,
Yeah.
he loses all composure and becomes a child, and he's like, yeah.
And this
So-
is another
That's what
scene.
every parent does, though. When you see
Yeah.
my son, my 2.5-year-old rode a pedal bike without training wheels for the first
Oh, I
time.
saw that
I'm
on
like,
your
yeah!
Yeah, what would his reaction be to, you know, successful potty training or something?
Oh yeah, so that's coming. But yeah, I loved. That was the scene I was expecting in episode 2. I don't know what took so long to finally do some training with this boy.
Yeah.
But it's about
But
time.
it was worth the. And one of the things I love in this scene, like I said earlier with Kyle, kind of the subtleties where they show and don't tell. Like there's little subtleties in this scene. So here's Clark trying to teach Jordan not to be angry, and then to control his powers, rein in his anger, and control his abilities. Now there's a subtlety here because when Jordan is saying, "Now imagine this log is Carter's face, pop it." You know, Clark, like when it cuts to Clark's face, there's this moment of, whoa. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it's that moment of, that is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to tell Jordan right now. But it's subtle, and it's really just clever how it's in there. And then he's instantly excited when Jordan makes his first fist print on the log. It's so cool.
But that moment you're talking about feeds into the football game as well.
Yes.
Because there's that moment when Jordan's looking over the guy that he's just floored.
Yes.
And it's clearly like he's getting off on it. Basically, he's like,
he's gloating.
Who's the bitch now? You know, that kind of thing. It's like, and you can see that that's just not what Clark's all about.
Yes.
Like even when you're justified in bringing someone down, it's like, you know, if you do have to take them down, but then that's it. You don't gloat. It's just
no
you do your
excessive
job.
celebration.
Yeah, no excessive celebration. That's right. So and I feel.
What kind of log was that it could withstand a punch from Superman?
A telegraph pole, maybe.
Very tough log.
It was super thick, you know. So I don't know what it was, but I'm going to assume that's the point of the control, right? That he's not supposed to punch through it. He's supposed to.
But it didn't withstand a punch from Superman. It withstood a punch from Superboy.
Yes.
Because that was the log that his mum and dad got him to train on, and then obviously as he got older and learned to control his powers.
But I am with Nicole. Where did that thick tree come from? I'm thinking a redwood, but they don't live near the redwoods.
He could have flown that in from anywhere.
Yeah,
That's true. Well, I don't know what age he could fly.
Yep.
These are the questions we have to ask people.
But they did a good job asking the questions. I'm so excited. So I was reading that comment. It's whatever's gun that comes back
Chekhov's
later.
gun.
Chekhov's gun that comes back, and that's true because all of these things that they are pointing. And I actually did an edit like that in my review, where he was about to punch the log, and it cut to that slow motion shot where he's about to hit that kid's face, and it's like they really do a good job in this episode of bringing up things early and then bringing it back later. Like I really feel like they do a great job with that. Sorry, I got distracted reading that comment. Yeah.
Foreshadowing. Lots of foreshadowing with payoffs. It's great. Good stuff. Which does actually bring us to said football scene, which is Smallville and Metropolis, or at Metropolis, because they're basically.
Is Metropolis in relation to Smallville? Is it the same as the show Smallville, where it's 3 hours away but 45 minutes away sometimes?
I think we've been over this a few times. We'll leave that one as it is, I think.
That's the wisest course of action.
However far they need it to be for the episode.
There it is. That's the end.
If it was too far away, though, they wouldn't be in the same league in the football game, though, would they?
Yeah, they
far
wouldn't.
enough away,
They're not driving more. They're not driving more than 2 hours for a football game.
No.
Same
So it's
state,
got to be
maybe.
2
It's
hours.
got to be close.
They're still
2 hours
closing
or
out
20
in a
minutes. One
hotel,
of the
though,
two.
don't they? So
They do,
could be,
yeah.
yeah.
Because their dad couldn't fly them back, but Yeah. But they got to blend in with the rest of the team, though, aren't they? They'd get on the coach with the rest of the team, go down. It'd be a bit suspect if all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we're going to make our own way home. It's like, really? Why? But no, it's. I like that. Not Jordan. Who's the other brother? I always forget.
Jonathan.
Jonathan. I should remember that so easy because it's the name of Clark's dad. It's just I get confused because that actor's name is Jordan. It's so. So Jonathan, what I like about the scene is that Jonathan steps up to the plate and says, put me on there. I can do it. And not only that, but it's against the team he used to play for. It's against the team that he used to be a star quarterback for.
Yep.
And he's just like, let's do it.
I mean, obviously, what was that coach thinking? I don't have a quarterback.
I was not a fan of that attitude from that coach. I was like, what? I mean, I get it. Your coach, be tough, whatever, but that is the wrong attitude.
Well, I'm not a fan of this coach in general, quite frankly, because I don't think we've seen anything from him that suggests he's a upstanding guy.
No.
I mean, he sends Jordan out there on the field to literally put a guy down.
Yes.
He doesn't send him out to go and play a ball. He says, go out there and take that sucker down. He knows that this guy can, has got some weight behind him, and he says, use it. Take their best player, put him on the floor, take him out of the game. He's not of high moral standing, I would say.
I was so happy for Jonathan, though, for once. He had something go his way.
I know. Jordan was the hero in the game for taking out that dude, which gave Jonathan the clear way to be like the quarterback and the hero getting the touchdown. It was like this perfect Kent victory.
Yeah.
It was. And then I love that moment with Clark when he just takes Jordan aside and says, "You better cut that out."
That was a great moment. I do.
But it does say so much about who Clark is and what he does on a daily basis. Yeah. Because there must be such a temptation there for him. So, I mean, we see it in this episode. So we can talk about that later. But another. So we've got a clip here. A really great moment. I'll play the clip first, actually.
Let it out right now.
Oh, that's
chills, man.
Every time. That is a good scene.
What a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's Jordan in his lowest moment.
And
the one man who understands him the most and gets those feelings the best is there for, and Clark never had that. And he's there for Jordan in his lowest moment. And now Jordan can let it all out. And it's amazing. It's like Clark is feeling Jordan's pain with him. It's like that's what that whole scene is symbolic of. Jordan is in pain, but Clark is bearing it with him. I love it.
Yes. There's Clark's in physical and emotional pain with him.
There's a moment later on when
his hands,
Clark's...
that's a lot on his hands.
Oh, it is. He even winces. So that tells you if Superman is wincing, that's a lot.
Well, it's full on heat vision. It's like putting a gun to their head for most people. But there's a moment later on when Lois and Clark are having a conversation, and they say how Jordan's just so young, and they're really feeling for him because he's so young and he has to deal with this. And then I can't remember if it's Clark who says it or Lois says it that Clark was that young. But he was younger. But the difference here is that Jordan has Clark. Jordan has a dad who has the same powers, who can relate. It's like if you look at what Jonathan Kent, as in senior, had to go through raising a superpowered son. And he had to do it without being able to relate in a powers way. He had to relate to him on purely human terms and almost bring Clark back down to earth as much as he could to root him in that humanity. Yeah. Whereas here, the struggle for Clark is that he knows exactly what Jordan's going through. He can relate, and so the trick is because because we see it with Jordan that he always says he feels like a freak, and he always says that he's not Superman. And again, we get it here where Clark basically says, well, actually, you are.
Yeah.
You are me. You know, you're not me yet. I was you once. So think about that. You can be where I am.
Yeah, he's like, you got to be Superman, and it's like, do you think that he thought that when he was your age?
I know.
No.
He didn't just like pop out of the womb wearing an S shield and a cape.
But it's that teenager. And it's understandable, but what's interesting about it is you see Jordan, he is comparing his inward struggles with Clark's outward appearance. Clark's outward appearance is the perfect hero, Superman, and it's easy to forget that Superman had to go through this same refining process that he's going through, which is why I love it later when Clark is like, I am you, you are me. Like, it's just, it's brilliant.
But I think that's a good lesson for life, because I think we all do that. Yes, I think we often look at other people who appear to have lots of success and appear to have everything we would want, actually. I mean, I had a conversation with my wife about this just the other day, because we've got. I'm trying to not give too much information away here, because I don't want to give personal conversation.
I get that.
So basically, we've got friends. They're in a situation where actually, on the surface of things, I could look at that and maybe be quite jealous, because I'm like, actually, that's in a position I'd like to be in. But then when I actually look at other aspects of their life as a result of them being in that position, I kind of think, actually, no, I don't want that. Actually, I'm happy where I am. So,
yeah, something that I do with my son actually is I try to, when he's having feelings, I try to relate to him. I've had those feelings. This is what I've been in. I know exactly how you feel. Here's when this has happened to me, and this is the choice that I made, even though I had these feelings, and how I dealt with it.
Yeah.
Because it can appear that you handle things because you only see your response. You don't see the internal struggle that's going on. And so I want him to understand that there is an internal struggle, and this is how do you deal with it. And I think that is shown a lot in this episode with Clark.
Definitely. What was the scene that Mercenary is talking about there?
I think he's talking about when he snapped Zod's neck, because a Kryptonian snapping a Kryptonian's neck. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mercenary X-84, but that's what I picked up when I read that article. Because here he is taking heat vision from another half Kryptonian, and he's wincing, and it's kind of that same moment as he's fighting Zod when their fists connect, when they hit, it hurts, and when he snaps Zod's neck, it's because they're both Kryptonian.
Right. Okay. Right. So, if we're all done with that scene, I'll scoot to the next. So next up, we have got West Side Story. He
even did that dance, and he's making fun of the crows, and he did that thing with his arms, and I was just like, it's like West Side Story. He's coming in with a dance. Look at that.
I'm not the only one that thought that, then. I just saw that and knows
That was a little bit of overacting on that part right there, as he's, doing that number, but whatever.
I feel like that was intentional, to be honest.
I do too. He's making fun of the crows, but it's kind of goofy.
So,
go crows.
So the moment they come walking over, and even before they came walking over, you knew they would come walking over. But as soon as they come walking over, that this is going to end in tears. This isn't going to go anybody's way. I'm just really gutted that it doesn't go Jonathan's way. Why is Jonathan always getting crapped on? Why is Jonathan the one who always goes to bat for everyone else, and then it always backfires? Like we get Jordan, and don't get me wrong, I understand Jordan's plight. He's going through a lot, but he's very emo about it. He's very woe is me about it. But if anyone genuinely has a reason to be that way, I feel like it's Jonathan, because he's always getting crapped on, and he's always just saying, you know what, I'll roll with the punches again. In this case, literally.
Because they brought Cutter brought up Eliza, didn't didn't he? You know,
Yes.
in that scene and
Yes.
on the
Yeah, that
pitch,
was
it's like, you know,
rude.
hey, you know,
Yeah.
I've taken your place.
So not only does he get the fact that someone is now with his ex rubbed in his face, he then gets his brother breaking his hand.
Now, here's what's expert about this scene. Think about how it's edited together. Because the way it's edited together, we see Jonathan and Jordan in Clark. So what happens is you have Jonathan standing between the bully and Jordan, and he takes that hit. Just as you have Tag, who's about to get shot by live rounds, and then Clark takes that hit for Tag. At the same time, when Clark is hit with kryptonite, the rage in him, but you go back to Jordan, and the rage that is in Jordan, where he was throwing that punch, it's interesting because we are seeing Superman reflected in his kids, and we're seeing that in Superman, and that just the way that it is cut together, it is whoever actually edited that and decided that's how that had to play out, they deserve an award.
Yeah. I mean that it could have been written that way. So,
it could have been. So however that came to play that way, it was brilliant.
Yeah, but it's just like I do feel it was very intentional because there's a lot of mirroring between Clark and the boys in this, and you know,
almost every episode has been like that where they've mirrored this part of the episode.
This one was just exceptional. Like it's there in the other ones, like you said, Nicole, it's very apparent. But there was something about this one that was just more exceptional. It just stood out so much.
They stepped it up a notch. They made a conscious effort to literally juxtapose what was happening in one place with what was happening in another place, so that literally father and son right now are going through the exact same thing. It's just that the father handles it one way and the son handles it the wrong way.
You know, Jonathan continues, I think, to have a little bit of he's more responsible, he's more moral, he's more selfless. God, you just want good things to happen for poor Jonathan. And he just,
well, you see it on his face when the guys come round and say, let's go out for a drink, and he's like, I don't know, guys, our dad said stay here, and it's Jordan who's like, because of Jordan. He wanted to keep an eye on his brother. Well, it's not even so much that he wanted to keep an eye on him. It was that he
worried about it.
He wanted to allow Jordan the chance to let his hair down. I think he was like he recognizes that this is a big moment for Jordan. That he has always been the outcast, the outsider, always felt like a bit of a freak. And he's like, now he's being embraced by these guys, and it's like, is he going to take that away from him and say, no, we've got to be responsible, we've got to do what Dad says? Or is he just going to say, okay, but I'll come with you? But it's just, but it backfires, and again, Jordan gets crapped on. Jonathan gets crapped on, I should say.
I kept, when I did my review, 5 takes because I kept transposing their names every take.
Even worse about the actor's name.
Yeah, you know what you've just reminded me of about the father-son scenario? It's the Superman quote, isn't it? You will make my strength your own and see my life through your eyes, as your life will be seen through mine. The son becomes the father, and the father the son. Yeah.
That is so. I did not put that together, but that is a great nod to Superman Returns and Superman the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is now canon and part of the multiverse, apparently.
They're all canon now. They're all canon. Even Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Oh, poor Superman 4.
Oh, man. We've got it there, so I'm going to show it because it's pretty badass.
You can't do this!
Oh, I hear the bones. I heard the bones.
See the little shockwave.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I mean, honestly, Jonathan is lucky there, right? He's lucky his hand didn't explode into such small fragments that they were microscopic.
So
it's amazing that he was able to stop him at all, actually.
Which is why I wondered, I wonder if there's something in Jonathan. I mean, wasn't it Jonathan in the first episode where he throws the football and it breaks the rope? Was that Jonathan when he was a kid?
It was, yeah.
There must be a little something present there. There must be.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
Yes.
It's got to be.
I'm hoping he's going to get some super healing.
Yes.
For anyone who's a fan of the Always Hold On to Smallville podcast, Mercenary X84 says the dude bros are here. I'm assuming that's what he's referencing. If not, then my bad. But yeah, there's an episode of Smallville where it's just like it's just jocks. Jocks are the bad guys, and they're all like, "Dude, bro, the dude bros are here, man. Dude bros." It's just like, man alive. It's just, but yeah, these guys, the jocks, are just like proper dude bros. Next up, we have got it's kind of what we just talked about, really, which was Superman saves Tag.
Let's talk about it again because it's awesome.
Yes.
Before you show that clip, can I just bring something up?
Go on.
Can you keep your eye on Superman's suit after the bullets come? After he takes the bullets out, just keep an eye on it when you play it.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Eagle-eyed now. Eagle-eyed, let's see. The suit heals!
Yeah!
But
like, ooh, you don't have to take me to the
I was trying to
table.
figure that out when I was watching it. Like, is it just the suit had indentations from the kryptonite? When he pulled it out, the indentations disappeared?
No, it's fully fixed.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was wondering in the next scene when there was no bullet holes, I thought it was a mistake, but I didn't notice that it healed during that clip.
So is that,
I think they owe us an explanation. I want to know more about his suit now.
Is this because it's a Kryptonian suit? Is it like...
It could have smart Kryptonian technology in it, and it knows how to self-repair.
Yeah.
Did Jor-El help him make it?
Yeah,
Wow.
he would have to have, right? I mean, that's the only way.
I did not notice that.
I don't think he's one that his mum made.
No. Yeah,
No,
thanks. My mum made it.
Did you see how scared that guy was, though?
Oh, man. He was, like, frozen solid. Kind of like when you're meeting a T-Rex for the first time and you just can't move. He was frozen solid.
It's like, oh, I just did a boo-boo.
I just shot the most powerful man in the world with his only weakness. He's charging me now.
It reminds me of, in The Dark Knight, when that guy goes to blackmail Lucius Fox, and Lucius Fox leans in and says, so... You think your employer is a man who dresses up in a bat suit and hits the streets every night, beating criminals to a bloody pulp, and your intention is to blackmail him? And then you see his face go,
oh, I didn't think about that.
You keep that, and it's just that moment of realization where it's like, I literally just pissed off the most powerful person on the planet. So. But thankfully, Superman has that very control that he's been talking about this whole episode.
He did burn something.
But you know what was great about that scene? In the moment, and I'm only talking about in the moment. So when Superman was angry, and I was angry, like I understand why Superman's, and I understand why the military's there. It's like, no, they want to put down a threat. Superman wants to put down a threat, but he also wants to help the kid. And what's powerful in that moment is when he got hit with that kryptonite, I was just as ticked off as he was. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you better do something. I mean, shoot something out of the ceiling to fall on his head and knock him out. I don't know. That hit him. Like in the moment, and when he stopped and Superman ran up to his face and he stopped, and all he said was, stand down. It's like, Superman, you are a better person than me.
If I was that guy,
a lot
though,
of broken trust there.
Yes.
If I was that guy at that point, though, I would stand down.
I can't believe that they had kryptonite bullets, though. I mean, why did they have kryptonite bullets?
Because General Lane. General Lane said,
I know, but he really thought he was that much of a threat that he had them loaded.
Yes, isn't that odd? Again, that's the rift between Sam Lane and Clark that I know Captain Luthor's going to exploit. And there was something weird about Sam Lane getting those dog tags with the number on the back. Like, that triggered something, and now Sam Lane trusts him less, and Sam was prepared to take down Superman, to take down Tag. Like, it's fishy. It's fishy.
That seemed really off to me.
That's his project.
For him at that moment to go after him with kryptonite. That
I
means
totally
that
agree.
these guys must have it on them all the time. Like if in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
I mean, that gun
So-
was made for those kryptonite shards. I mean, you saw it. It had like those 4 tubes around it, specifically made for one shot. And it's like, what are they thinking? What is happening over there on Sam Lane's side of things? Like, what is this thought process?
Yeah.
And it almost just showed like, hey, that wasn't enough too. So
Yeah. Now they're gonna have more. They're gonna go all Batman and shoot a kryptonite gas pellet where he's gonna inhale it.
Yeah.
That was...
I'd love to see Batman in this world.
Oh,
Come
my
on.
gosh.
Come on. You got to bring Batman
I would
into
love
this
to
world.
see that. Maybe this is a
it.
world where there isn't a Batwoman and all the mess going on with that
Batwoman
show.
doesn't exist.
But it's
How is
straight up
that
Bruce
getting
Wayne.
greenlit for I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
can't
I'm
go
sorry,
there.
but
Anyway,
like
so
the ratings. Come on, you do
I know,
not
it's
give
some
a
of the worst
show with
ratings I've
those
heard since
ratings.
the Oscars. It's
Like
nuts.
nobody's watching them. It's ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Sam said that he would do things by any means necessary, and Superman goes,
Now I
I
know.
get that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
he's
that
off.
was
He's off.
So now,
Yeah.
what precaution is Superman going to take? Because, spoiler, in the Smallville Season 11 comic book, our Clark from Smallville, redesigned his suit so that the S shield is a shield of lead to protect his heart in case of any kind of weird kryptonite bullet situation, since, he's had that several times and died several times in the show Smallville.
why doesn't he use lead paint or something?
Well, I don't know, because that's a really excellent point. But I wonder if this Superman now might have something like that prepared, because now he knows.
He's scared of getting lead poisoning. So
I don't
next
think
up,
he can get lead poisoning though.
it was a joke. It was a joke. Sense the tone. So next up, we've got family talk. So this was Clark doesn't come right out and say to Lois what's gone down with.
Maybe
General
he already
Wayne.
told
He
her.
just-
Like, I don't
No,
know.
but I think that conversation is going to be that's going to happen in the next episode.
Okay.
Because they do that, don't they? They'll
They do,
breeze over
yeah.
it, and then they can work on it more in the next one. Because we've got to see some kind of interaction between Lois and her father after what just happened.
Yes.
We've got to.
It's gotta
I
happen.
just don't think they could do it here because it would have been too much to fit in. So we do get Clark, like when he's in this conversation, he drops a little hint that my day's been interesting, kind of thing. But again, a nice family moment, and it does come back round to, I mean, we've already talked about it really, which is like, Jordan being all, woe is me, and like you don't know, I'm not you, I'm not Superman, and when in actual fact, no, well, you're not Superman, because Superman wasn't Superman when he was your age either. So shut up moaning, you little brat. Anyway.
Pretty much. I mean, this had one of my favorite quotes though in this scene, and I'm gonna just read this. He said, when I first showed up in Metropolis as Superman, there was a lot of talk about what the world should do with a person that had powers like mine. And it took me a minute to realize that other people were more afraid of what I could do than I was. So what I had to do more than anything was earn their trust, prove to them that no matter what, I would never use my powers to hurt them. 20 years later, every time I use my powers, that trust is tested every time.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic, and I love it too, because this is the scene where Jordan realizes he's not so different from his dad, because he even has that moment where, Clark is like, you think you and me are different? We're not. I have those feelings too. And he's like, really? We're not different? And that's when he launched into that great quote that you just read. And it was this brilliant moment where I feel like there was this genuine connection deeper than the rest of the episodes between Clark and Jordan.
Yeah. And once trust is broken, it takes a lot longer to heal than a rift.
Yep.
Yes.
The big difference between Clark and Jordan right now is that Jordan is thinking inwardly about how everything affects him, whereas Clark is always thinking outwardly about how he affects the world. And it's just, that's what Jordan's struggling with, and he needs to shift his thinking. And
Yeah.
you know.
And I know this show is not a sequel to the show Smallville. I know that. But it's interesting, this comparison, because you in some ways you could almost use Smallville as the foundation for the show, because wasn't that Clark's journey? Wasn't like the first several seasons he was inward focused, and then as it began to build, well, there was always an outward look because he's a very general, not selfish person, but you see that develop so much.
The thing, I'll give one example. When I was thinking about the difference between Jordan and Clark in Smallville.
Okay.
And that in Clark in Smallville, when he got his heat vision, right?
Yes.
He put someone in danger. And what did he do? He hid out in the barn and he went like this. Now, I don't want to go out in the world anymore. I don't want to hurt anyone. And on the contrast, what do you have Jordan do? Saying, well, I don't want to miss that football game, even though he knows he's having trouble controlling.
That's a better point. I take back what I said, no matter how eloquent it was.
You've got to get binocular emissions under control.
Oh, never call it that again.
That's even worse now. Now that you know that he's had some ocular emissions into his father's hands, that's just
subject
like
change. Smallville, what a great show that
Smallville's wonderful. Like, look at this scene. Secrets. You know, talk about a segue. Talk about a beautiful segue. Smallville, secrets, go.
This scene could have been in Smallville.
It could have.
So could have.
That very thing.
Yes.
It just seemed like they took a scene from Smallville and they just put it in here. Like this was Clark and Lana. Except I don't care about these two, and I cared about Clark and Lana. But
I'm the opposite.
I care more about these two than I did about Clark and Lana, to be honest.
Well, there's several main differences, but I'll touch surface level. I know Clark's destiny in Smallville, and so it makes it even harder when we're wasting all this Lana time. This show, what's their destiny? I don't know. So this is more compelling.
The thing is, right? I can sympathize with the character. What is her name? It's Sarah. Sarah. I'm rubbish with names, man. Like so Sarah, I feel so much more towards, because she doesn't feel like a little spoilt kind of, oh, I'm so pretty and everybody loves me and all these media freaks are just. I'm sorry, but Lana,
that's the best Lana impersonation I've heard.
It's just
that's amazing, Brian.
It's like,
you nailed it.
It's like, hey, I'm Lana, and every single boy in the school fancies me, and I have so many media things coming out. It's just like, it's so is. It's like, oh no, I run a cafe business all by myself, despite the fact that I'm only 15 years old. It's just like, get a grip, first world problems, hashtag, you know, and it's like, whereas this girl here, you know, she's in a family where she's got problems. Her family is struggling, you know, like her mum and dad have been on pretty rocky ground. She's had a suicidal kind of tendencies a couple of years back. And it's, you know, she's been through therapy. She's a lot more grounded. I feel like she's not held up on this pedestal like some kind of Disney princess. It's just, she's much more relatable to me. Now,
I just don't care about this couple at all.
Don't get me wrong. I prefer Clark from Smallville. Obviously, he's my guy. But as a relationship, I'm more interested in these two and where it's going to go. Like Durbin said, because we don't know this guy's destiny. They can do anything. Like at this point, Jordan could still become a villain.
Yeah, he could.
You know, he could still become a villain. I hope not. Yeah, but he could become a villain. This could be his journey. So that not knowing is what is what makes this journey better. Whereas with Lana, it was always like, you're not the one. So stop dragging
too much
this
time
out.
thinking about that and not enough time getting into what was happening then. But anyway,
too many opinions there. But keep going.
Too many. Yeah.
Saying that I just saw that I would tag Sarah Drama Here Comes, because it's please tell me your secret. Something weird happened and it looks like it. And then he goes,
I do hope we don't take that path, because I do feel like it could go either way. It could be this was one moment where if there was something weird about him, she just wanted to hear about it. Now she'll let go. Or it could go the way of Lana. I can know. By me knowing you as a person, I have the right to know every intimate detail of your life. And if you don't tell me, I will go in your barn with the camera and I will snap pictures.
Kind of. I'll tell you the way I think it's going to go. I think she is actually going to find out, and I think
Lana's going to
find out. I think it's going to scare her. I think something's going to happen where Jordan loses his cool, where she's involved in that situation, and it's going to put the fear of God into her, and it's just, yeah. I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes they did, as much as I love Smallville. But yeah, I don't think they're going to make those mistakes. But anyway,
we'll see.
We'll
see. I don't think that's just going to be gone and never heard of
yeah.
again. I think there's
Right.
going to be more of that. That's all I'm saying.
So
we could end up with a lot more videos out on the internet of, Jordan's powers.
Yeah.
He's got full-blown social media now.
Yeah.
We have,
Generation Z. He was born at that
this
time
is
and
it.
Mark was not.
Yeah. I mean, we've already got him and that incident with him and Tag out there, which we wouldn't have had in Smallville because.
Which is curious, though. Now,
Yeah.
I got to bring this up because this is interesting, and it makes so for our benefit as the audience, we see red lasers come out of their eyes when they use their heat vision. But I'm guessing nobody else sees that because, they have the video, they have the suspicion that it was Jordan that blew up the fire. So I'm guessing nobody else sees red lasers. I'm trying to figure that out.
I don't think so.
I'm guessing not.
Because Smallville was my favorite interpretation of heat vision, the shimmering waves of heat coming out like a beam. And it kind
They
of
changed that though in the end, but yeah.
Yeah, they kind of did, but you get the
but
idea.
that's because he went full on. Boom!
Yeah.
I'm using my powers.
But I was wondering that when they were looking at the video because I was like, well, I know this is a minor thing. We should not get hung up here at all. But it's just a thought that went through my head that it's like, I was getting triggered. Wouldn't they have seen the beams unless that's just for our benefit that they put the beams in there? So anyway, I'm done.
I think it's for our benefit.
Yeah.
So we get into the last scene. We're clocking just over an hour, and we're actually into the last scene, guys.
Isn't that amazing?
That means we can talk about this scene for another 40 minutes.
No.
No. Okay, let's just. I want to got a few short things to say on this. So basically, Jordan has a bit of a moment with his mum, which I find really touching. It sucks to be soup.
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 There needs to be an E there, I think.
Yeah. Sucks to be soup. I really feel for Jordan. I really feel for Jordan in this moment when he breaks down on his mum. It's a really tender moment. I always love these moments between the two boys and whichever one of their parents that are going off, and then boom. Jordan starts having a seizure, and almost as quick as he was, well, not quite as quick as he was when he had the panic button, to be quite honest, even though he was on the phone.
Well, I think his ear is very tuned to the panic button, but he had to yell.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is how this scene bookends the episode. So the episode opens with him in an emotional state as he's having the tar beat out of him, and we hear that hum, that high-pitched noise begin. Now, this time, he's not being beat up on, but he, like you said, Brian, we feel for him because he's in a really heightened emotional state of just tremendous pain. And as he's entering that heightened emotional state, that high-pitched sound, that hum begins to rise. And it's like somehow this state, is it kicking his abilities into another gear? So, I'm looking forward to when Jor-El actually examines him and goes, oh, well, I was wrong. I guess your kid does have some powers. Whoopsie. Misdiagnosis.
He does end the episode essentially the same way he started the episode, which is on the floor, in pain, needing to be saved by his dad. Yeah. So, it is a nice bookend. And we see that moment right here.
Back here into the fortress.
That
Great
shot
flying shot.
it is
love
so
it.
cinematic, and it looks so good. Like, there's this small part of me that wishes, let's Star Wars treatment Smallville. How great would it be to go back in time to Smallville and give it these type of graphics? Like, especially when he's catching that missile in season 5. But, oh my gosh, like, there's nothing to say. That just looks so good as he's flying up.
It just makes you wonder where they're going to be in another 10 years.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
like, this is TV, and it's like...
Well, in 10 years, we won't have TV, okay?
No,
we might be
no.
moving from streaming into some other different type of platform in 10
Yeah.
years, so who knows where it's going to be.
We're just going to all
in 10
walk
years.
around with things stuck to our heads that just beams the signals direct into our brain.
It worked out good on Doctor Who, though, did it?
But but that takes us out of that episode, which I've already spoilt it, so I'll go first. I've already said I think this is the best episode so far of this season. Clearly, that means I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Not much else to say on that, other than to say that right now this show is kicking ass.
Taking names.
Yeah, and taking names, kicking ass, and chewing bubblegum.
I mean, yeah.
And it's not all out of bubblegum, so I'm
And it's not
stretching
dry.
that analogy far too much. Right, Nicole, out of 5.
I don't know
Go.
what I'm gonna do because the finale isn't here yet. I feel like.
Oh, enough of that nonsense. Just go.
All right, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
It deserves it. It's really good. I think the same thing as you. This show is just fantastic right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put it in the same plane as Smallville yet because we're only in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
so
yeah,
far, it is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's got to keep that momentum going for a few seasons before.
Yeah.
It's like for me, what makes a 5 is if I can't really find any flaws beyond the most minor of nitpicks. And yeah, I had a couple of nitpicks in this, but you can have that with everything. If you dig deep enough. But as far as just the way it was fleshed out, the way it dealt with its themes. Brilliant editing, like Durbin said, the way it brought that theme together within those couple of scenes and the way it edited them together. It just, it was on fire. All the character stuff, I was invested with everyone, with each story, even the little subplot with Lois going off and investigating Morgan and the stuff with Lana. It's just spot on.
Yep. 5 out of 5. I'm definitely going there. And having just watched WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think this show is topping so far with just its first 6 episodes. Hopefully it keeps up this momentum. But so far, it's beaten those shows big time.
Yeah, I'll go with a 5 as well. Yeah, it's certainly hitting the high 5 with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how they are showing that, because a lot of people think, how life would be so much better if I had powers, and that actually it's not that much better. And one other quote I wanted to get in there because I really loved, and that is, Jordan says, "I just wanted to be good at something," and Clark goes, "That's not what your powers are for."
Yeah.
What a
That's
great
a great line.
lesson.
Yeah, and it's a lie as well, which is that if you have to have powers in order to be good at something, then you're not really good at that thing. You're cheating.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yep.
Very, very true.
On that note, we will end there. Thank you for those who tuned in live to watch this stream. Where's my buttons? There they are. Yeah. So thank you to everyone who tuned in for this stream. Join us next week for episode 7, which hopefully will be another banger. And at some point we will be hitting another episode of Smallville, which I believe is the episode called Promise.
Yeah, so you got a little taste of that here.
little bit.
I haven't had any of my say yet, though.
Yeah. If you want to see some Durban freakouts, join us for that one. That will be a bonus.
Talk about triggered Mercenary X84. Talk about triggered. You want an episode? Well, actually, season 6 triggers me with Lana, so it's gonna be good.
We'll see you next week.